All right, so we're going to call the public hearing for the West Tawakoni Economic Development Corporation to begin at 5:05. Everyone has signed the sign-in sheet who are going to be speaking or who are present in the room. And we're going to go ahead and give citizens input if someone would like to speak about this prior to the public hearing. If you speak during the public hearing. Okay. So we're starting at 5:05, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a background so that the people on our board know what's going on who haven't maybe been here in the past. One of the things that you guys recognize is you recognize some old hats here who've been here forever. So Kathy, who's the heart of the EDC, has been here and heard the first proposals that came in for this development back in 2022. Larry Para, who's the soul of our group, I feel like, he was here as well. So he was aware of the proposals that came in, the purchase of the property, and what the plans were for. I was appointed to come on to the EDC board in February, and the board elected me to be president starting in March. So while I'm new to the board and to what it's been doing, I do have a good understanding because I went through the last 2 years of minutes and know what you guys were planning on doing. New to the board is Casey Laughlin, and he is a resident here who also owns two businesses. So he's got one business that is very successful, Texas Oasis, and then he has Chums on the Water, which is a fishing guide service that he operates here out of the city of West Washington. Cindy Phillips will probably be coming in a little bit later. She's also new to the board. She's a hairdresser who owns Cutting It Barber Shop in Quinlan, but she lives here in West Tawakoni. She does a lot of community service, and she was very excited to be helping with the business and development here. And then Rhett Byers, who was on the board, I think, when you guys initially presented, and he's not here today. He had a doctor's appointment, and so he doesn't feel like he can get here in time. Okay. So I'm going to open it up as a public hearing, and I'd like for you guys to go ahead and talk and let us know what's going on and what the situation is.
So just give an intro. This is James Chem. I'm one of the developers. There are actually three developers for that property in front of the city hall. One is ours, and there are two. There's a hotel. Then there are two other properties being developed by Gauri Joshi. So Samir did all of the designs for all three properties, all of it, all of the civil design, and we are all actually depending on that design. You know, our budgets are based on that design, and the budgets. So his design actually says that we are going to connect straight to a water line in front of that, on the side of 276 on that side. So we don't have money budgeted for anything else. So this we started building that's a street between two properties between Gauri's and ours, and we connected sewer line on the sewer line, and we took it all the way halfway through that street. But when we came to water, um, they said, yeah, we had a design, and we went and dug there. There was no water. There was no water line, and they said, okay, maybe several feet to the west of it. They dug it there. There was nothing. Then we came to the understanding that there was no water line. So we stopped the work about 3 months ago. We haven't been able to do it. We can't do it. So it's all dug up and it's sitting there. And, until we have water line, we can continue it. So and he can probably talk more about the design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, EDC members, everybody present. My name is Samir Shrestha.
Hi, Samir, and this is Cindy Phillips.
Hi, Cindy.
Hello.
So I've been involved on this project with all three developers since day one. Since we planned the property, went through the site plan review, and did all the design based on the water line being present on the front. Did the survey. I think the city went and marked the water line, and that's what the survey is based on. And so we're doing multifamily a gas station and retail, and another retail on the right side of that shared road. On the west side, we're doing Jim's retail and hotel development with future expansion on that side. Plus, Gori has another lot, 7 acre tract that was designed for 5 commercial building and 16 or 17 single family residents on the back facing the golf course. So when we've been kind of going back and forth with city to try to figure out what is the best resolution for this matter is, and we need that water line to go ahead and develop any of the properties. Everything is dependent on that water line. We cannot develop. Everything is designed for that water line to be extended to a certain point. Uh, then everything we're taking from that point on, we're designing with James and Gori as a shared drive, west Tawakoni Plaza, going up north towards the golf course, and that serves as a primary street for both development on either side. So that's the background of that all development, and we really want to develop that property. Everybody's excited. I already submitted my hotel plans. They're asking me about the water line. The client couldn't be present, but he told me to go ahead and represent him on this meeting. So they are very excited. They want to build a hotel, and I think it's uh, going on construction if everything plans gets approved. Going in construction probably beginning of 2026. So until we get the water, it's not going to be possible. They're probably not going to move forward with the, all the because of additional cost, and they already submitted all their bids budget wise to the bank. So their hands are pretty much tied. So we're just trying to see what we can come up to as a resolution, as a team, as a community, and see what we can resolve this as soon as possible, as cheap as possible. So if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. And I think at a public hearing, we can't ask
Okay.
questions, but once we close the public hearing, then we can.
Yeah.
There'll be another portion in the agenda where we actually are going to talk about this proposal and take a vote
Yeah.
on it.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to speak? All right, then, since this is the first public hearing I've ever done, Mary, yeah, on the other commission that I'm on, we're not allowed to speak or say anything about it. We have to close the hearing, and we can't talk about a project until we're actually in the middle of the agenda.
In the discussion of.
Is that how y'all are conducting them here in the city?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, usually we do kind of speak back and forth.
This is your chance to talk to them.
Yeah,
And ask them
that's kind of where I was
questions.
thinking, questioning myself there. But usually we do speak back and forth on it
Okay.
before we go back into the discussion later.
All
So
right.
it's where we could ask questions back to them.
Then we'll go ahead and do this because it's not the county side. So what I want to do is I want to talk for just a minute about how excited we are about this development coming in. And you've got 100% support from the EDC and 100% support from the city. The water line is going to get done. The reason we have a public hearing today is because according to the rules for what an EDC can do, if we're going to do anything over $10,000 and offer a loan or any kind of help for this, we're required by law to have a public hearing, and then we cannot write a check to fund anything for 61 days. The EDC cannot pay to cut in the water line because that's actually prohibited in Texas law. The EDC, what we've done and what this hearing is about is we can offer the city a loan. We can offer to help the city side of it without specifically being in the role of saying we're putting in the water line. The loan process of that, we haven't even actually been approached yet by the city or the city council to do that. But I felt like when I was at the special session and I heard for the first time that there was no water line, I felt like we, for our economic development, needed to jump in this very quickly, get this hearing, put something on the table so that in 61 days, we can help the city if that's what they choose to do. So they've got 60 days themselves to decide if that's what they want to ask us to do. The proposal of doing a $50,000 loan with a 3% interest rate paid back matches what we did with the EDC when we redid Rabbit Cove Road back in 2017. Rabbit Cove Road had a grant that needed to have a match of $76,000 or $78,000. The city didn't have it at the time to match the grant. They were going to lose the grant. They weren't going to be able to do the repairs on that road and use the government money. So the EDC at that time stepped in, did a loan for that amount of money, gave them the city a 6-month grace period not to start any payments back. And then the city started payments back with a 3% interest rate on those payments over the course of 5 years. The city finished paying off that loan in February of this year when I took over. Thank you, Mary, for finishing paying off that loan. So it's a nice precedent that we already have where this is a way for us to help the city when things like this come up. And what it does for us as an EDC is it allows our money to actually make a little less interest than what we're getting on our CDs. We're getting about 4% interest on the CDs that we have. But it certainly pays us more than having $50,000 just sitting in the bank. So we'd like to be able to do that and offer that to the city. And if the city decides, the council decides, yeah, we want to go ahead and do that, that at least can give some immediate cash basis in 61 days to help with this. Now, that's not saying, I want you to understand, we don't speak for the city. The EDC is not the city. We're an extension, but we're a separate corporation. So I really can't say that the city has the money to get started on the water line, but I suspect the city has the money to get started on the water line. So I'm not saying that you'd be waiting 61 days before they start on the development phase. What I'm saying is that we can do the check and fund them within 61 days. Does that make sense? And then for all of you who are new, who haven't been here, I did put in your packet just a copy of the initial business proposal, the front 2 pages of this, to let you know that Patel Investments came to the EDC November 15th of 2022. They had a complete business plan and all of their design and what they were going to do. And this is probably the biggest development that's happened here in this city since I've lived here. So that's 20 years. We need this development and we need the red roof in. When we have events out here, like the July 4th event that they did in the park, there were people that came from out of state all over for the businesses to do those jet ski rides. They had no place to stay. By no place, I'm not saying Anchor Inn didn't have places. They did. They were full. Anchor Inn was full. All the surrounding Airbnbs were full. The cottages on the other side of Quinlan were full. So there were a lot of people who had to get hotel rooms up in Greenville and make the drive down here to be able to participate in that event. We need that hotel. We need a nice, clean place for people to come and to stay. And we are advertising this. I know I've got the brochures over at the golf course. Have you seen the new city brochures? Well, I got one for you. In fact, let me give you a few because I want you to get a hold of the people who are doing the Red Roof Inn and let them know they're already advertised on there as coming soon.
Okay.
So we are advertising, we are putting those all over the county, the surrounding counties, and at the state line. So that when people come in, they know the kind of activities that they can do here in this city. And we want to have that Red Roof Inn hotel for people to stay in. So they have a nice place to stay while they're here.
It is exciting to see the new development. And something the city definitely needs because new development will bring more new development, and that's something that our businesses need. And the just their proposed hotel, I think, is excellent for the whole community. So, I have the full support. Or you have my full support.
I think we're all excited, aren't we? And we kind of recognize that it can be disheartening when you run into a snag like this, because it's not a little snag, to go, oh, there's no water line. We thought there was a water line here. Just know that it's going to be put in, from what I'm understanding. And the city is going to do this, from what I'm understanding. And the $50,000 is the support that we're talking about today. That does not stop City Council from being able to come back and ask for some additional support. We do have some other developments that are in the cooker that are not up for the public to know just yet. And if those start happening, we will also be helping the city with that financial end of it as well. Do you have any questions for us?
We're pretty clear with everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming. I know it was kind of last minute, and so when I reached out and I said, I need you to be here. I need people here and I need them to talk, because having a public hearing is something that's required by law. So I wanted to make sure that we did that and that we're doing it the right way now with how we handle the money with the EDC.
I have a timeline question. So once the water line's in, what is the timeline for the rest of the development itself? Do you have one? Or I know it's obviously depending on what we're doing, but just out of curiosity, mainly for the public to know as well.
So based on financing.
Right.
Financing is, discussions are going on. It's not final yet.
Okay.
So once the money comes in, before that we got to build a street. Otherwise, nobody else can do anything.
So the water line has hindered the rest of the street development?
All of the development to the east,
Mhm.
just water line from there.
Okay.
Us, the strip mall will get the water from there. The hotel will get the water from there.
Yeah.
And the developments to the right, to the west, they'll get the water from there.
Okay.
But nothing can happen without it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Okay.
I think the timeline is looking at it, depending on the Sabine River Authority's approval for that drainage.
Yes.
I think from the other owner, I think so it just depending on the water line being put in, they test it out, and the street's gonna get put in, and then all the development's gonna happen simultaneously or one after another.
Okay.
So it just depends on that.
Hydraulically, have you engineered the demand for all of the development that you guys are doing, so the city understands what size water line they need to supply and
We're
the volume
doing
available?
8-inch water line throughout the whole development too. And we're gonna put a booster pump if we need it in certain areas. Like apartment probably needs a booster pump on their building, but we have a kind of those on our design.
And to piggyback off that, the city's also doing their engineering, going through our engineer, Jacob and Martin, to do feasibility studies to make sure that the plants that they design go with our hydraulic model within our plant, to make sure what they're wanting to do is what we'll actually handle.
Right, plus any future needs for any undeveloped land that's
Yep.
remaining.
Absolutely.
Kill all the birds with one stone.
Yes.
I think we got the clearance for upsizing needs. So
Well, this was going to need to happen anyway, and maybe there's a little bit of a silver lining to this, in that, for example, today we had a major water line break.
Mhm.
A lot of the water lines out here in the city are old. They need to be replaced. They have often breaks and problems with it, and then we have to boil water when we get those notices. With a brand new line coming in, it means that you're going to have something that's going to be stable and secure and that lasts for all of our lifetime.
That was the only question I had so far.
Anything else? All right, then I'll call this public hearing closed at 5:24 p.m. All right. And we have 5 minutes for a 5-minute break.
Let me pause that for it.
If anyone needs to stretch their legs or go outside, they can. Okay. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Thank you. And at this time, Mary has a volleyball engagement in another city, so we're going to excuse her. We have a quorum, so we're going to be fine.
Don't need me, you can call me though.
We will.
Yes, call me. And if you have questions on the line, I'll be driving. We'll be good.
Okay, all right, I cannot just unplug it. All right, are y'all ready for the invocation? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for everything that you have done for us and what you continue to do for this city. We ask for you to bless everyone here and their families, that you help this water line go in and you bless this new development. We're coming up on the anniversary of 9/11 where we lost so many souls. We ask for your grace, taking care of those families that have gone before to you and those who are still here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so the announcements for today, we have a long list. Anna Herrera Beauty Salon is our September business of the month. So remember to go to the City of West Tawakoni's EDC Facebook page, like it, and repost it to give her some of that press. She actually has 3 businesses there. She has her beauty salon. She has the Zumba by Anna, and she's got a senior class on Tuesdays. And then she just opened and got her certificate of occupancy for beauty and nutrition. I believe she's going to be selling Herbalife. And my hope is that she will also have a table at the Entrepreneur Showcase on November 1st. The second is the Bingo Congregate Meals for Seniors. Will that still occur this month? And when will that be, Kathy?
That's on the 3rd Wednesday.
So that'll be the 3rd Wednesday. It's sponsored by the Senior Center Resources and the Public Transit in partnership with our Tawakoni Fire Department.
That's September 17th.
All right. The third is that please remember that our EDC is sponsoring the Cotton Patch Challenge Road Rally and Gravel Grinder Bicycle event on September 20th. And the check-in is at 6 a.m. for those who want to be participating in that, up across from the courthouse in Greenbelt in front of Landon Winery. The ride starts at 7:30 and they'll have a stop at our Lake Tawakoni Chamber building. We will have later in the agenda, we're going to talk about who can sign up to help me with that booth that's going to be there and the times that they're going to be riding through. Remember that the HCEA, the Hunt County Economic Alliance Luncheon is on October 2nd at Lone Oak Civic Center at 11:30, and that we are doing the barbecue competition. So we are going to be competing against Soul Man's Barbecue place in Lone Oak. I won't say their name because they already have enough good press. And then our Common Foods from our food truck court. The Lake Tawakoni Chamber of Commerce's Entrepreneurial Showcase that was originally occurring on November 8th has been moved to November 1st. So if anyone asks you about that, any new business people, anyone who's expanding their business who wants to participate and they say, hey, we heard about that, please remind them that it's November 1st. And we have 5 businesses that may be participating. And I've been visiting with each one of those, and I will be doing another visit to those to make sure they know it's November 1st and to see if there's any help that they need for setting up or getting sponsorship from us, mentoring for how to do that. The Tawakoni Fire Department has a 9/11 tribute this Thursday at 6:45 a.m., not p.m. at the station. So the time is wrong on the actual meeting agenda. The details of that event can be found on the Tawakoni Fire Department's webpage, or public can contact Chris Burkett to get more details about that. They had a very nice flyer. It's been announced at city council several times. And sounds like it's something that everyone's really excited about.
Oh, it's awesome.
Is there gonna be a flyover this year?
We don't know if the military is going to do planes here because there wasn't any available last day. But the ones out of Carroll, there's three. I think last count, we had 4 flags.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
That's gonna be nice. And we always do a video. If you go to the Facebook page of the fire department, you see a video from last year, and it just brings tears to life.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds like a good event for people to come to.
Yeah.
The library will have a Workforce Commission job event on September 24th from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. The Workforce Commission is going to come up here and help with resume writing and help connect individuals who are looking for jobs. If they're not looking for full-time, permanent, they're also going to help them find the seasonal jobs. We're going into the fall, there are seasonal jobs available, and it's a great place for our citizens to get out there and get some help filling out resumes.
Is that that's not so much looking for only work within the community, but help them for anything outside where they want to.
Anywhere and everywhere.
Great.
And they sit down and they actually help with the resumes. They help with the computers to show them how to do it online. They help connect them sometimes with the individuals at the jobs that they're looking at going to, and kind of walk them through how to do that. And they're getting people jobs, which has been pretty exciting.
Yeah, great program.
Are there any other announcements?
Okay, September 26th, we're going to have an open house, a recruiting event at the fire department. And everybody can bring their kids, we'll probably do some truck rides. They can check out the truck, they can try on gear. We want to bring some more people into the fire department, we'll plan to that. But we're also going to have a fish fry. So if you want a fish sandwich and chips, that's $10. If you want a fish plate, the potato salad, whatever, that's $20.
And what times are that?
That's going to start at 6:30.
In the morning?
No, that's at night.
Evening. Okay.
It's on a Friday night.
I thought I'd better check.
Yeah, I know, that's what I've been saying.
All right, so 6:30 on Friday night, September 26th.
Yeah.
All right. So if there are no more announcements, then we'll go ahead and move on to citizens input related to any agenda items. Cecilia, did you have anything you wanted to say about what's on the agenda?
I don't know about the agenda because I haven't read it in detail, but like you things you were just going over, there's not locations on here, so I'm not really sure where some of this stuff happened.
Well, Anna Herrera is a business here in the city,
Yeah,
at Penny Mart, and
And,
you know where the fire department is,
right,
right? And then the Cotton Patch Challenge, it has on there that it's at Landry Wineries where it starts, and it comes down and they have a pit stop at our local chamber building. You know where the chamber building is, right? Right there close to the library.
right.
Okay. And then the barbecue is at the Lone Oak Civic Center. See where that is on there?
Okay.
At 11:30. And then the Chamber of Commerce is running the entrepreneurial showcase. So they'll make a determination where those businesses are going to be able to showcase and sell their stuff, do marketing, whatever. They'll make that decision. It's going to be between the Quinlan Ford High School and the Methodist Church.
Okay.
And they haven't decided which one it's going to be at. But if you go to their Facebook page, it'll show all of that.
Okay.
The fire tribute will be at the fire, and the library will do the workforce.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. This is going to be the approval of the EDC minutes for August 4th, the approval of the bank statement for July, the bank statement for August, and the approval of bills paid and to be paid. So the bank statements are in your packet, and what you'll notice on the July one is that there's two sections. The first one is from July 1st to July 13th, and then the next one is from July 14th to July 31st. And that's because if you recall last month, we couldn't approve the bank statement because they were changing over their computer systems and couldn't print one. So they had up to the 13th was the old system, afterward is the new. And then you've got the statement for August ending August 31st. And then on bills paid and to be paid, we'll run through and let you know really quick. We have paid Sylvia her invoice for her secretarial services, Lee her invoice for the legal fees. We've paid the lawn mowing for Courtney, $125. We paid $115.76 for the banner, $48.68 for the brochures, and $908 for the 10x10 event. I didn't bring the event tent down here to show you guys. You'll just have to come by the chamber on September 20th to see it. But it's beautiful. So all of the marketing materials that we approved have been paid. So the chair would entertain a motion on approval of the consent agenda A through D.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we'll go on to number 7, discuss and or take action on the profit loss statement for August 2025. And I wish Mary was here to, answer any questions about it. But for the financial statement, it's the same as what we've seen, every month. It's the same. We're getting our payment in, the tax payments are coming in, and we're looking good. It's why we have the money to be able to consider, offering the loan to the city that we'll discuss later. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the profit loss statement for August 2025.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
I second the motion.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll go on to number 8, which is what we had our public hearing on, and that is to discuss or take action to approve an offer to provide a loan of $50,000 at a repayment rate of 3% interest to the city of West Tawakoni for assisting with the funding for infrastructure, water, sewer, utilities construction, approximately 1,500 feet, located along the north side of East Texas State Highway 276, between the addresses of 1300 East Texas 276 and 2104 East Texas 276 in West Tawakoni, Texas 75474. Do you want to talk about this, or do you feel like we've covered it pretty well?
I think we covered it. We just need to make sure, I know you asked them. I think it should have asked them without confirmation on the hotel.
Mhm.
I'd just like them to tell us if they're sure they're gonna build it.
They are sure they're going to build it, and they sent in all the plans today to Shannon. So they've got all the schematics and the plans ready to go. So,
Obviously, we don't have anything to do with the engineering side of it, but it's a huge expense. And if you think about the development that needs to happen on that end of town, there's still quite a bit of vacant land. So if we get this line put in, we need to make sure that it's, like I said, we're not the engineers, we're not the ones looking at the original deal, but it has to serve that into the community when it's all said and done, because we're only doing it for that development. We're going to be sitting there having this talk again in a couple of years when more developers come in. So whatever the proper engineering is to get that line size to feed pretty much any type of development that can happen that is within zoning on that end of town is important.
and I think they've done that because they're talking about an 8-inch line.
Mhm.
And while I'm not an engineer on water, I can tell you that, a lot of it, when they're putting in stuff, they tend to do with 4-inch.
Mhm.
So, and when you're doing residential, it's 2.5 or 3-inch. So the fact that they're going with an 8-inch, just kind of tells me that they have planned for that to be able to service all the way down. And there may come a point for the service of the water on this side of 276, on the south side. We've got more development coming in back in this region. We've got a large area of land that right now is up for sale. And if someone comes in and buys that, it's actually large enough they can put a very nice SF1 or SF2 set of homes. And so if they put in a good water line on the north side of 276, they can then ask TxDOT and get permission to go under the highway to pull from that to help increase the service of the water on the south side.
Sure. But definitely in favor of the development. Just don't want to have to redo something a couple of years down the road. Just needs to be well thought out of what the need for the city is from here that way.
And the other thing that I want all of you to understand is that City Council has not come to us to ask for this yet. In actuality, I feel like we've got a very deliberate City Council that takes a long time thinking about things before they make a decision. And this is one of those things where I recognized we needed to kind of step up to the plate and have it set up. So this is just that we've approved the offer. And then if they come to us and they say, yes, we're going to take you up on the offer, then since we've approved it, it'll be very easy to work with our attorney, Lee, get that contract set up exactly like it was for the Rabbit Cove Road loan, and to get that process started. And it won't hurt the city at all to be making those payments back, but it helps them immediately to have that money, that cash on hand, so that they're not pulling it from other things that they're doing in the city. And
It's a very generous interest rate. I don't know where interest rates are established, but prime right now is what, 7.5. So a 3% interest rate is very favorable for the city.
All right, so the chair would entertain a motion for us to approve making the offer. Don't make me read it all out again. I already read it on the record.
I'll make a motion to approve the offer.
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll go on to number 9. Discuss and or take action to amend the budget to include monies for infrastructure development funding. Well, now this one I really could use Mary here. So my understanding is that all we need to do is to make a motion to approve moving money in the budget for next year into an infrastructure category. We don't have one of those actually done. So it would be a motion to create an infrastructure category and to put money in that for use. And my suggestion is that we move more than just 50,000, because we know we're offering this 50, and we've got another thing on the plate, something else that may be coming up here in a few months, that by January, they're going to be coming to us for some assistance with a bigger assistance.
As far as money and CDs and when those mature, do we have those dates and what's tied up? Because right now we're getting 3.5%, 4% maybe on a CD that benefits nothing within the city. But you're talking about being able to loan money to the city or for infrastructure, still make a little bit off of it, but it actually benefits the city and not, whatever bank it's sitting in for them to loan that money out.
Fortunately, we're not going to have to pull anything out of the CDs. So we have, but on the CDs, we have a $50,000 CD that went for 6 months that was taken out at either the end of May or very beginning of June, I think end of May. So that's almost going to come due. Then we have a $68,000 CD that is the annual CD that was renewed in June. And that is still underneath the city's tax ID number rather than the EDC's tax ID number. Now, Mary is working to move that over into our tax ID number. And I'm on top of harassing her about that to be able to make sure that that happens. Some of our citizens have been ill-informed about the amount of money that the city has. When somebody has gone out and said that the city has, several million. There, that dollar amount is actually including the EDC's money. Well, the EDC has over $200,000, and that's 68,000 in that CD that's under the city tax ID that was done way back, probably when Annette was operating as the city secretary. That's our money, and the city can't use that for anything. So the city council hasn't passed their budget yet, and they need to get that passed as quickly as possible. Or the city's going to start paying fines for that. Our corporation is also going to be faced with fines for not having our audit done. We have 2 years that we're behind in the audit. And so what that means is that we're going to pay fines to the state now because they passed the law starting September 1st. You're going to have to pay those fines. Our audit is tied in with the city's audit with the same company. So we are a little bit like a poor stepchild here. There's nothing we can do about this. We're going to have to pay those fines when the audit fines come up. And, we're not able to move the city council members along any faster. I think if you talk to them individually, a lot of them would say, that they keep hearing from me and I keep pushing because we passed our budget even though we're having to amend it. So, but I think we're safe to move $100,000 into that category, $50,000 with the offer that we're making now, and then another $50,000 should something else come up and be available. And we've got, I believe it's 100 and maybe 160,000 sitting in the bank.
I think it's
now.
on
That's not in
169.
169, it's sitting in the bank.
Oh,
So we have the ability to offer.
Who determines the interest, or how is the interest rate determined? How did the 3% come about? Is that, which I wasn't in the August meeting, so I don't know if it's discussed, but is that?
Yeah, couldn't discuss it because this all happened very quickly.
Sure.
But the 3% is determined by the precedent of what we did with Rabbit Cove Road.
Okay.
Okay. If we charge them more, then we can cause a little bit of a hardship to the city. We're taking money from their road because we can't do residential roads.
Sure.
All those kind of things that we can't do that they have to be responsible for. If it's higher than 3%, potential to kind of hurt the city. If it's lower than 3% and we're not getting at least 3%, then we get the backlash from the public too, because our job is to bring the economic development here as well as to support low-income housing should it need to come in or we need to do something about that, for the job development and to support our existing business. And we're really starting on that very well. So the 3% matches the precedent from before.
Fair enough.
And if we want to change, when they come to us for something else, if we want to change that interest rate, then I think, we certainly should talk about it.
Yeah, obviously the 3% that's been offered, you stand with that. But in the future, if a CD is going to pay us 3.5 or 4, do we look at and that's still a very favorable rate because the CD is going to be, based on when prime changes, the CDs fluctuate the opposite. So whatever a CD rate is, maybe we use that as a proposed rate to loan the money on. Not for this 50, but in the future. And that way we're not costing ourselves money, because if we were going to take that money and put it in a CD anyways, but we're also not, we're offering a very favorable rate that they're not going to go to any bank or any lender and get 3.5%, 4%. So it's kind of a square deal, in my opinion. Maybe future discussion.
So do y'all think moving $100,000 over into an infrastructure development would be okay for budget? And
I think if 50 is spoken for, then 50 additional for the rest of the year doesn't seem out of line.
all right, well, let's do that, and we'll go ahead and do it with a vote if we all vote for it. And if it's not how they want it, if Mary goes, oh, wait a minute, there's a problem with that, we'll fix it next month. So the chair would entertain a motion to add an infrastructure development funding into the budget and to move $50,000 into that budget line item.
Make a motion.
Second emotion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You want to move it?
We're gonna move 100,000. No, move 100. You want me to do it again?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Just for clarity.
For clarity, would you make a motion to do the infrastructure development funding and to move the $100,000 into that?
I make a motion.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
I,
All right. Clear on the record.
Did y'all hear what I heard?
it passed right over me, but that doesn't mean.
Probably. You're probably right.
I'm not trying to be trouble.
All right, let's go to number 10. Discuss and or take action to determine financial grant amounts for the facade grants to be awarded and limit the grants to 4 per fiscal year. All right, so in your packet, did I put your facade grant? Well, you're gonna find something that starts with the word application summary. All right, so you're gonna pull that application summary up. This is the facade grant that is going to be discussed on line item number 11. It has a copy of the facade grant contract that we currently offer. So for this one, we're not going to be able to change it. It is for a grant of $2,500. On section where it says section 6 guidelines. This is the 5th page in. And it looks like this. Section 5 is funding cycle, and section 6 is the guideline. We renewed as an EDC providing the facade grant program again back in May. The facade grants for helping businesses improve the outside front of their building had not been occurring. It had stopped for some unknown reason in 2020. So it is renewed for us. Right now, this is the contract that we're using with the same grants that we were doing before. So this application will have to go by that with this legal agreement. Right now, the grants are there's 4 grants a year. It starts in the fiscal year starting October 1st and ends September 30th. So no checks could be written for this grant until October 1st. It is budgeted for in our budget that we have passed. And it totals for a year, but all they can get is $2,500. Now, if you look, so let's stop there real quick. Would y'all like to continue that at that same rate so that we don't have to amend the budget? Or do you want to amend it and change it where we offer more money?
Of the requests that have come in, what kind of numbers are being tossed around as far as the help that they need to raise for improvements? Is it enough to be a sizable aid to them, or?
Well, I think they would tell you, and the people who submitted the one that we'll get to on number 11 will tell you anything will help. $500. I don't know that $2,500 goes as far as it did, like it did back in 2020. I don't think it does.
I'm in a construction-related business, obviously not facade improvement, but things are expensive.
Very expensive.
To me, $2,500 isn't even really a drop in the bucket, maybe a coat of paint. So yes, I think that would be great if all they want to do is minor, but if we look at some of the buildings and some of the improvements that are being done, it's a major improvement. And maybe is there a way to add a tier schedule, like based on, hey, if you're wanting to do $100,000 improvement, then we're willing to have a grant of this amount, which if you're just wanting paint or something like that, maybe there's a tier based on what their proposed improvement would be.
I like that idea. You guys think about that.
So I think if you look at like just driving in, there's 2 businesses that have done major things recently. One would be the RV Super Center. Like that place looks amazing. They're fixing the fence, moving RVs around, adding all kinds of stuff. And then obviously what Tin Cup has done, I mean, just it, and with improvement, your neighbors look just like when you live in a neighborhood, you don't want your neighbors showing you up, right? So improve with improvement brings more improvement. So I think and it just makes the whole city look better.
So I think what I think we ought to do, I love your ideas, is not to make the determination today on the amount, because we will have to amend the budget most likely. But instead, we can table it and sit down, and since you work in construction, this is part of what you know, and you know the cost, or maybe you to come up with a proposal to bring
Sure.
back to the next meeting, and have kind of that idea of the tier level and what we might be able to do.
I can make it happen.
All right, so we'll toss it in your camps for you to come back with a proposal.
Question. I see on here, 10 liquors not in city limits.
It is, but we'll get to that one on 11.
Okay.
All right. So the chair would entertain a motion for us to table this until next time.
I make a motion that we table till next meeting.
A second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now we'll go on to number 11, and this is to discuss and/or take action on the facade grant request from Tin Cup Liquor, which is also known as Amelia Corporation owners, to assist with the expense of the facade of their new building, which is going through an expansion. So one of the things about these applications for facade grants is these guys really have to work. They had to do 8 copies of this. They have provided us with all of the money, the numbers that they have paid, which I want to remind everybody on the EDC, even though we have not signed a non-disclosure agreement with them on this, that, these are their personal financial numbers. So they're not to be discussed or shared with anyone else. We always here on the EDC keep that stuff confidential and always make a point to say it. And they certainly have done more than is required in terms of the amount of spending. So for these grants, you have to spend at least $2,500. You have to have put your own money into it so that people are not just coming to the EDC for free money for whatever it is they want to do on the front of their building. And they've certainly spent way more than what's required to be able to get this grant. But I do know that they are looking for it and for any help.
And for that particular one, there's an ROI for us if we're thinking on that tax money, because they're expanding the offerings, which should increase traffic and everything that goes with it.
And I believe they are in the city limits because we've expanded that city limit slot, the city limit component, all the way down to right at Grim and Son.
Okay. But I was hoping that if they weren't, I was just going to mention that in the particular way that they are.
Well, I think they are. I don't think we have any problem with that. And our EDC with a small town is able to help with businesses that are outside the city limit and within a certain proximity of our city. So they will fall within our ability to do the help. So are there anyone who is concerned about giving them this grant? I'm kind of excited to actually start it and start having that money roll out again to help our businesses directly. So the chair would entertain a motion for us to approve the grant application for $2,500 for Tin Cup.
I'll make a motion to approve the grant application for $2,500.
Second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, they will be very happy. And if any of you go in to buy some alcohol tonight, you can let them know we approved it. They'll get $2,500. All right, now we'll move on down to number 12 to talk about the marketing materials for the EDC. So I have for Mary's, for each of you, you have some pens, brochures, and the new cards for the EDC that now have the correct and accurate information. that you can hand out. On the card, you can put your name on the board member name. And so when you're going and you're talking to any business in this city, feel free. Use that card. I know you went and you spoke with the manager at Grimm and Sons, and I've met up with her as well to talk about this. So any place you go, put your name under the board member. You can hand in that card. And we want them calling the city when they get in touch with us. And while the QR code on the card looks small, it works. Okay? So they can hit that QR code. It immediately pulls up the city's website, and they can see the information in the city. All right, so you've got the brochures, you've got the cards, the pins, the other floaty keychains that we give out. Has everyone seen the banner?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you saw it when you stopped by the office. But we definitely want to have everyone be able to see this. This was presented to City Council 2 weeks ago at their special session. Casey, would you come up and hold it? All right. So.
That's nice.
This is our new EDC banner.
Wow.
That looks good.
All right, so we will put that up, and let's turn it around so they can see it in the camera. The public can see it.
Sorry.
And
Little
Cecilia
banner
can
around.
see it.
Oh, hold on, we got a, like, see?
Here, but we're going to show it for the
Oh.
camera too, right
Okay,
there.
okay.
Did you-
Camera's not where the TV is.
Where does that go? Is that showing? Every event that we have, we will be putting this banner up. And for one of the things that we have on our agenda to begin to do as an EDC, I will be going with other people from my board to North Texas locations and marketing to pull businesses. So when we set up our tent, we set up our banner, we hand out our brochures, we explain the property that's available, the rental space is available, and we start actually trying to draw businesses in.
That's great. That is great.
Thank you.
Wow.
Definitely needed. I saw you at the Catfish Festival at the park. You're a little slim on material. So,
Yeah, try there was nothing. The other thing that has changed is just procedures, what we do for the EDC now. So before, when I took over, there was nothing. There was a set of old cards that had the wrong information on them that were found in boxes that had not been used. There were no brochures for the city. There were no pins or marketing material. The floating keychains were something that city staff worked hard to find them in a back building. There was no tables. There was no nothing. So this particular sign you see here, what I had there was stuff I kind of pulled out, made real quick, and set it up. So this is before you were on, but this board has been absolutely wonderful, and I have a great team here. Well, you guys approve it, we work together, and I just love all of you, because y'all are doing a great job, and I appreciate having an easy board to work with. So that is our marketing materials. With what you have in your envelopes, when you go out, feel free. Give them to people. If people say, like you have to go to Anchor Inn and they say, oh, we're out of the brochures, shoot me a text. Let me know. If you don't have any on hand to go put them down there, I'll go put them. And now that we're working with the city, these marketing materials will also be in our section here in City Hall. We have a filing cabinet. These are not going to be disappearing in somebody's garage or storage unit whenever they leave their position. They all stay here and they all belong to the city. So even those images, even though the pictures are ones that I took, they do not belong to me. Once you produce something on a board commissioner for city council for the city, by law, the resolution in 2014, that image, that marketing belongs to this city. So while we're out there, marketing this stuff, and we need to put EDC on it so that people don't think the city's paying for it, it is EDC paying for it. We are still marketing for the city. We're not marketing for ourselves because it's the city that we're benefiting. All right. So,
I was just going to mention Anchor Inn gave great feedback on the brochure. So they looked amazing.
Good. Yeah, I'm very glad about that. So there's no action to be taken on item 12. Item 13, oh, hold on. So before we go any further, I apologize, go back to item 12. In your pamphlet, you have a list of where all the brochures are being placed. Okay, so you know that these are all the locations. Again, I don't think it helps to have brochures for the city if we're not putting them out there. So right now I have them at our Chamber of Commerce, Greenville Chamber of Commerce. Emory doesn't have a chamber. They've got a city hall and an EDC. Both of those have them. City Hall here, Saving River Authority, our public library. All of the businesses currently have them except for our 3 posts. I've got to get those to them. And because Lake Tawakoni RV Center has had interest, I'm going to get some over to them so that they have it. If you guys come up at some later time with another idea, another place you think they ought to be, let me know. Mary is going to be taking them to the Louisiana border and to the Oklahoma border. I'm going to be taking them to the Arkansas border. So at the visitor center, as people come in, they're going to get those brochures. And I can tell you, I'm getting real positive reactions from everyone that I give the brochures to. And the Greenville Chamber of Commerce was very impressed and very happy. So our marketing is starting to pay off.
Great.
All right. So now we'll go on to number 13. All right. Discuss and/or take action on the flyer campaign of notifying businesses of using West Tawakoni as their city for advertising, marketing, and address city for purchases of goods and merchandise, rather than using the default of Quinlan that occurs when you put 75474 zip code into a computer. You give that for what you're purchasing. So previously, our board had approved this. And I wrote this up very quickly to get it out because at the June event, I had Leslie Jacoby stop by, our councilman's lovely wife, to explain to me that this was a problem city council had been talking about. Because every time the default Quinlan comes up when you purchase something, your sales tax goes to the city of Quinlan. So you want to change it to West Tawakoni, so the sales tax comes to the city of West Tawakoni. So every business I've been going to has been getting this flyer. And then I thought I could do better than that. Well, I'm asking for y'all to look at a new idea just to rebrand this. What I noticed is that when I was handing this to businesses, like at Dale's Old Fashioned Hamburgers, the owner was like, kind of wordy, kind of long, explain it to me. I would explain it, and I'm not sure that it was sticking. It was sticking, but I'm not sure I was explaining it very well. And it is kind of wordy. When you're busy running a business, you look at something like this and you go, okay, yeah, all right. So I thought, what if we change it into an actual campaign for 2025, 2026, and call it the Bring Back Our Bucks campaign. So it's quicker, it's faster, it's a little jazzier, and I thought it was a little bit like when somebody says, get out the vote, you know exactly what they're talking about. So here in our city, if we call it Bring Back Our Bucks, we talked about it in city council. I told them in the meeting that I would need for y'all to approve it if we were going to use it and for me to be able to give it out to the businesses that I go visit. But it's a very quick way to say, change all of your purchases to West Tawakoni. Don't use the default Quinlan so we get our sales tax dollars. And then I added the city's official logo and made sure it was sponsored by the EDC.
They've given up on trying to get a post office.
You'll never be able to get a post office, Kathy. It just will never happen.
What a post office.
So this is for obviously there's only a limited number of businesses in town, so that's an easy group to actually walk in, physically talk to. This also applies to like Amazon purchases from residents. How do you even start to go to that group? Because if you think about the volume of things being purchased, that's tenfold probably what gets purchased out of the city from businesses.
that camera right there, we're live on YouTube. It is brought up in city council. Everyone who's watching that sees it. We can put this out on Facebook. We can put this on our section of the city's website. And then we tell it, we say it to everyone that we know. So like when I sit down and I'm purchasing on Amazon, and I purchase a lot, I always make sure to change that default West Walkeny. It still gets to me if I leave it as Quinlan, but I change it. So I make sure the sales tax dollars go here. And then we've had some city council members, such as James, who have pointed out that there's some businesses that he orders from, they don't recognize that West Walkeny even exists. So when he's tried to change it, it won't allow it to be changed to get the purchase. So what I'm advising those businesses and citizens to do is pick up the phone and call the business you're ordering merchandise from. Tell that business that is coming to West Walkeny, and they want you to buy their merchandise. So you've got a higher chance if you call the business to have them then make that change in their computers.
Love the slogan.
Thank you.
Tall task. Get everybody on board.
But I will say, after I started thinking about it, I'm like, that's a little embarrassing. And because I made all the copies and paid for it myself, if I don't get reimbursed for that, I just marked out the other little 4 things with the black. We're not going to try and retype that. So what do y'all think? Can we go ahead and move to this?
Yeah.
All right. So the chair will entertain a motion for us to use the Bring Back Our Bucks campaign for this year.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, awesome. Go on to item 14, discuss and or take action on the EDC sponsorship of the Cotton Patch Challenge September 20th. All right, so, we have sponsored this. I don't know if any of you have been up in Greenville yet to see the banner for us. Go to our City of West Walkeny Economic Development Corporation Facebook. You'll see the pictures of the banner that I took that are at the intersection there on Wesley Street. We have one of the larger banners as our sponsorship with the beautiful city logo on it. They cut Greenville down, a little circle for the Greenville city down in the corner. I guess I'm not going to be able to keep doing that, but Greenville's a sister city, so it's okay. But we are up there big, bold, and very clear that we are sponsoring this event. So, or one of the sponsors. So the question that I have for you is, I'm going to need some help on that booth. So the riders travel up to 25 miles per hour, and they start showing up here at our chamber at 9:30 a.m. on the 20th. Our rest stop is 45.6 miles on their 76-mile route. And we should have the 76-mile and 100-mile cyclists passing that stop all the way up until 12:30. So we need it manned from 9:30 until 12:30. And I'm going to do the setup for the EDC at 7:30 with my husband, who's going to come and will help set it up. But I definitely need some people to come and sit with me.
I'll be there.
All right, thank you, Larry.
Is this the 20th of Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
I think I've got it.
My hands are tied on Saturdays.
If I don't, I'll come. But Robin,
He always comes in and out all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
And I always did the traffic at
Okay,
the driveway.
awesome. So you will come for the whole time?
Yeah.
All right, well, if you were there the whole time with me, then for the rest of the board members, if you get free, you have some time, come over. You definitely need to come and see the tent setup and see what the setup's going to be. Okay? And then that way, at least I have somebody else there, so the two of us will be there for sure. Robin said that they love the donuts. And the people that I went and met with in Greenville, when I gave them the check, I went in person so I could talk to them, said that these riders, while they'll be bringing water and healthy snacks, they They eat cookies, they eat donuts, they eat all kinds of stuff like that. So I thought I would just go ahead and buy stuff and bring it there. Do y'all want to reimburse me for some of that expense?
Yeah, we'll give her
Well,
25% back on the dollar.
Okay.
Hey, I'm only glad you got here right now.
If we don't vote on it and approve it, I don't come back and ask you to reimburse the EDC reimbursement. So it has to be something that you guys have approved.
I think it was tied into a cause that we're already supporting and budgeting, then absolutely.
Definitely.
All right, then the chair would entertain a motion for approval for the donuts, Gatorade, and snacks to be purchased, and for Donna Melbourne to be reimbursed for the purchase of those items.
I'll make a motion for your
I
reimbursement of
second.
those items.
Thank you. All in favor? All right.
They can't make no money tonight at all,
No. All right, and because we've lost our camera person, we will not be going into executive session number 15, but I think that's okay. I think we can go ahead and go on to item 16. And our items are oh, I'm sorry, real quick, go back, I apologize. We're on item 15. Discuss and/or take action regarding the EDC and city advertising all business spaces available for rent in our city. Well, Rhett's not here, and I really would like him to be here because I really think he, with his computer skills, can do this for us. But I don't think we can just volunteer and appoint him to do it. So, Chair would entertain a motion to table item 15.
huh? I make a motion at this time that we table item 15.
Second that.
I have a motion in the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item 16 is discuss and/or take action regarding the Hunt County Economic Alliance Luncheon to be held on October 2nd at the Lone Oak Civic Center. All I wanted to do is make sure that you all saw the flyer, that you've got a copy in your file that Debbie Darter created. She did a wonderful job creating that. And to let you know, you are all already registered to attend. So you do not have to go to the Greenville Chamber of Commerce site and register to attend this. We're all registered to attend, and the two people from Planning and Zoning who will be present are Shannon and my husband Chris. They're both registered, and the mayor is registered. So our mayor should be speaking. We'll be introducing Mary to the large group, and I don't know what the count is yet. So, but I'll be able to find out head count to let you guys know, since we pay for a third of that.
Okay.
Okay? So there's no action to be taken on that item. One day we'll work on my numbering. I'm sorry, Sylvia. It's off. All right, so now we're going to go to item 16, the building construction. So one of the things that we need to do on the building is finalize and approve as a group that this is what we're going to be doing to finish off the EDC building. So we already know, and inside, by the way, I don't know that I've ever shown you this. This is the schematic for that building. So you have the north section, the south section, and the measurements of what's in there. On the north section, in order to have any ability to rent it, we're going to have insulation cut in the ceiling, R19, insulation for the walls, R11, and then if we want the least expensive covering, rather than doing sheetrock or paneling that costs more money, the OSB 4x8 is the cheapest paneling, cheapest stuff we can put up on the walls and the ceiling. And we have to do that. We have the open wiring in there. And so you have to put the insulation on that and you have to cover that up for us to be able to pass inspection. Okay? And then the northern section is higher than the south section. And we've got an opening there of 5 feet 8 inches. So we talked about and plan on doing a ramp from the lower section to the upper section. So whoever rents that out as commercial space, as storage space, commercial use, because you can't do an office in there. We talked about that there's no bathroom. We need to put a ramp there. And then both of these walls between the north and south section, these smaller walls that are 8 feet, 8.5, those are framed out for walls. They have the wires there. So we have to put the insulation in there and put the OSB on both sides of those to make those walls. And then we'll blow in insulation in the south section because it's raised up. It'll be blown fiberglass. And so at the end, I'm doing this, I don't know if you can visualize it, but at the end of that building where they're going to blow in that fiberglass, they'll put that OSB. And the way I've worded this is an access ceiling door to the southern section of the building. Not really a ceiling door. It's a wall. We need a crawl space. So if somebody needs to get up in there and crawl in there, they can do it if they have to. So that's what the north section is. The south section is the one that has the cinder block walls with the big gouges and holes out of them. We need to have that insulation will be blown in on the top. We need to have somebody repair the holes in the ceiling plywood. When they did the new roof, there's no leaks. So they repaired all the leaking in there. But we've got plywood in that ceiling that had water damage. So that needs to be repaired and then covered with OSB and patched. Patch the holes in the cinder block walls. Seal the inside from outside along the ceiling roof line on the south porch side. So when you stand inside the building and on that very south wall that faces 276, we've got a door there. When you look up at the ceiling where the cinder block is, you can see light that comes in from the exterior, from outside. So it's not going to be much. You know, my husband already sealed up all the rest of the holes along the walls with his foam stuff. But I think the person who does this can finish that out along there and get that sealed from the outside. And then we need to have interior frame and trim out the 2 windows that are there, and then trim out the 2 doors and have them paint those interior cinder block walls because they're pretty horrible looking. Just whatever the cheapest paint is. White, gray, beige, whatever, doesn't matter, whatever's on sale. And then whoever we hire to finish out this construction, let's let them remove all that old PVC piping and the metal vent items and all those construction items from I don't know how many, 100 years ago, they're stuck up there. Have them take that down, get that removed. I look at those filing cabinets. I realize that the past president thought that the EDC can move into that building and use those filing cabinets. They are just disgusting. We're not using those filing cabinets. We have no place for them up here. So I'm suggesting we have them discarded.
I'll come in and take them out.
You can have them all.
I'll take them out.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And then have the building a general sweep, knock down the spider webs, and get it ready for rental. We cannot have the building on the insurance, city's insurance, until we have this done. Because if you have the city's insurer come in to see how much they'll insure it for, when it's in a really bad shape, they're not going to insure it. So once we get this done, then we'll be able to have the insurance on the building. And we can't rent it out if it doesn't have insurance. The liability for us is too great. And for anybody else who might be renting So,
Okay, so just looking at this,
Mhm.
how many spaces will we have to rent out when it's done?
one,
The whole building.
the whole building. And that's what we had talked about doing. If we divide it up, what happens is the expense to the EDC will be excessively high. Because if you close off this to rent this as separate space, you must, according to Bureau Veritas, install an external door. We have a garage door. He said it does not count. So that means you would have to knock out and frame out and put another door here. And then the ramp, the loading ramp on that side, which makes the building really rentable for somebody who wants to put their construction material in there or whatever they want to use as commercial storage. That loading ramp, then you're going to have to do an additional ramp up to that door. And then you have to have the electrician come back in and put an additional exit sign that lights up. So we have to reroute the electricity.
Does it increase the value per square foot on the rental market if those two are separated off? Like, is there a?
Yeah, I don't think so. And here's why. If in our city, if you look at all the empty buildings, there's lots of commercial storage space that you can get from anyone. So, somebody could go and find an owner of one of the older buildings and just throw all their stuff in there,
Sure.
rather than doing it. And if we separate those two rooms, at least at this juncture, I don't think we're going to necessarily be able to rent out.
On the ceiling finish out, I've never been inside it. Is it just open truss construction where when you look up, you're looking at the bottom of the metal roof all the way through, or does it have an actual ceiling?
No,
It's
it
actual ceiling.
has wooden, I don't think they're called joists. Maybe they are.
Yeah,
called
ceiling joist that would be
Ceiling
flat.
And in the south section, those wooden joists, this is the prettiest wood I've ever seen.
Is that right?
Yeah. In fact, I'm sitting there, I'm like, too bad this doesn't have a bathroom, because you could just leave that open and finish those wood joists. It's gorgeous. So we're not doing anything with those. So let's run the whole length of that. And then on the north section, you've got that, but we've got to put in the ceiling, the insulation, because one of the problems that you have if you don't is the heat inside that building. There'll be a lot of people who go, I can't put my stuff here. This will be designed in such a way that if somebody wants to put an air conditioning unit, they can do a window unit in the window that's there. There's also a section in the cinder block where they can put another unit, and they can actually air condition that entire building and make it reasonable for whatever they use. And we haven't decided yet who we're renting it out to yet. So if Pastor Charlie is able to, rent that out and wants to use that for his food pantry, he of course wants the whole building as well. Having that so that you can have an air conditioning unit, you have to buy that and pay for that to put it in if that's what he wants to do. But it opens up for him to do it or anybody else.
So once all the expenses are accumulated, and then we'll need to know what the insurance costs, taxes look like, right? And then kind of determine what the.
Yeah, we already have our taxes.
Overall.
We pay that every September.
Will it be increased with improvements?
Not unless somebody's going up to the county. Did I say that on YouTube? No, I don't think it's going to cause any kind of increase in taxes because it's already an existing building. So it already had the taxes we pay on it are there. Used to have an insurance company in there. It was a farmer's agent in there.
But with having to get rid of is there running water on the building? It just doesn't have a facility, doesn't have a restaurant.
Well, there's running water, but what they had was the outside the front of the building, there was, an outside spigot. So they had put a little hose to that, run it up through the hole in the ceiling, hatch the hot water hose all the way over to the corner and brought it down.
Part of the 17 build code, I guess, a little older. So
So.
it
what
can only
else?
be rented for storage, basically, the way
Right.
it's set up.
Yeah, to rent it for people to be in there, you have to have the bathroom installed, you have to have handicap access, you have to have, there are a couple other things the Bureau Veritas inspector gave me on the list.
So how do we determine the rental rate per square foot? Obviously, there's some self-storage facilities in town that are uninsulated, just steel little capsules that you rent, right? They bring a certain rate per square foot. Obviously, this is nicer than one of those insulated. Do you base it on that type of rate, or how do we come up with what this building's worth on the rental market?
I think we ought to give it to a realtor. I think we ought to, the city right now is selling, I think, 3 properties using Kathy Hobbs. And I think we can get a good rate, a good agreement with her if we go with her, since she's working now for the city of West Walkeny, helping with those properties. And I had called Gene Sousa there and talked with Gene, and he said that, yeah, they handle rental property. So if we let Kathy Hobbs rent out the space once it's completed, then what happens is, we can give Pastor Charlie the information, and he can talk with Kathy, and we can kind of tell her, what he was thinking, but she can also put it on the market and see who else is available. And then when she gets her list of who might want to do this, and we can pick our best offer. And I think that's what our citizens would want us to do. Everyone here knows, that my heart is with Pastor Charlie. I would love for him to be able to rent it, and I would love for him to be able to use that for the food pantry. I think that's a great thing to do, and we might decide to do that based on comparing his to other offers, because there's a real benefit to the citizens, if we do it. On the other hand, if we get an offer where somebody comes in and says, yeah, I'll pay $2,000 a month for this, I think they're probably going to go for the $2,000 a month. But by using a realtor, like if we let Kathy Hobbs do this, she signs the contract. She is the one who manages that whole thing. If there's a conflict with the person who's renting it out or a problem, then that'll be her handling that and her lawyers handling that, not us and our lawyer having to handle that. And I think, given the fact that none of us are realtors, I got to tell you, I think putting that in a realtor's hands and letting them manage that puts that expert in between us and the renter. So if we have any problem with what's going on with the rentee, they kind of deal with it.
The eviction process is not fun. I own some rental properties and some commercial stuff as well, and it's a drawn out process. So the benefit of having somebody like Kathy Hobbs that can deal, not to say somebody needs evicting when they get in there, but if they're not following the terms, she would be in charge of sending the letters, following through all the legal proceedings for that. So, and that's somebody that knows the business well, I feel like. So it takes a lot of pressure off of us from a legal standpoint, and we should get max value for the building through a realtor, or at least fair value.
So if that sounds good to you guys, we could make a motion today to go ahead and take bids and finalize the building construction, and to hire Kathy Hobbs to represent the building once it's ready to go. We could have both of that kind of handled today.
Can we split that and see what her fee structure is?
Okay.
Based on the rental, because she's going to get a monthly piece of the pie, right, to manage it. And then we definitely need to get it finished out, or we can't rent it, right?
So you want to just do the building construction portion today?
I think we can do the building piece of it and then find out what her rates are, maybe make a decision on that at a later date.
Do that next month. All right.
And I think if Kathy looked at it, it would be nice to get her, have a conversation with her about would we make more if we added that, or would we make more if we did certain things. Like,
I'll be fully in agreement to have a meeting with her and talk about rates, talk about what we can do to maximize value, and just kind of get our ducks in a row on that before we make any moves with her.
You're volunteering to do that?
I'll do
sounds
that.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Why not?
All right. All right. Well, we're gonna.
If I can get a hold of her.
We're gonna sign.
So I've tried that with
you
Kathy a couple
Casey.
times, and she's not the easiest, but we will work through it.
All right. Thank you. So we don't need an action on that. So you'll meet with Kathy
Yes.
and talk with her about all of that, and you can get with me. I've got the keys to the building to go in also, and you walk around and look at it with me, so that you have not just a schematic, but an eyeball on it. So the chair would entertain a motion for us to finish the building construction.
I'll make the motion.
A second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
May have somebody already wanting a building out there.
I love that building.
No,
I liked it just the way it was.
It's never too late. It's
Oh,
still
man,
enclosed.
I always liked that building, always.
All right. Discuss and or take action regarding improvements and or repairs on equipment or structures in the city of West Washington Public Park. So I want to give you an update on repairs to the bathroom doors to the park. They are replaced and repaired, and the check for the $1,800 was given to Mary today to reimburse the city for the portion the EDC had promised to pay for 2 years ago. So brand new doors at that city park. I'm happy for that update. Now, the question that comes up next on this is a discussion about repairs on the first park pavilion on the east side of the park. So when you come in on the right-hand side. And the reason I put this on here is that Cindy, you and David had mentioned to me at the very beginning, when we first met, that you had noticed that there needed to be some repairs on that. David does roofing. He had come up to the city and offered to do some help, but nobody had ever worked with him or come back to give him any idea about how to do it. So it's been on my mind since you messaged it. And then Casey, you brought it up with me when you and I met a couple of weeks ago, where you said, hey, like, this is something going on with this pavilion. I'm concerned about it. So I got two different people who, I don't think you guys have dinner together with your families, do you?
No.
So, but what that means, when I have two people mention something to me, that means that there are not just you guys, but there are more people in the city who have noticed problems on that pavilion, that if we don't get repaired, then it's going to cost a heck of a lot more to totally replace it. So I wanted to bring this up to you and ask, do you guys want to consider offering to pay something toward the repair on that pavilion? We could take over and we could repair it. I could get the bids on it. We could do the 3 bids like we've been doing, get the lowest bid, and then come back in and approve to do that. But I don't know if y'all want us.
Which pavilion are you talking about? Where are we at?
When
The
you,
ballpark down at the end, where,
the one right at the front,
right in the front?
right in the front, right behind the EDC building. That's the one that y'all know, right?
Okay. So it's a beautiful structure, and the cost of replacement's high. It's in shape now to where a new roof should preserve it, and that's why I brought it to your attention. I didn't know even who to approach with that. I wasn't saying that it needed to be this group, but just I spend some time in the park and look at things that what's the cost later if something's not done, and it'll start deteriorating. So something needs to happen to it. That's the main pavilion I see people using. Like people always set up having little parties or whatever.
Yeah,
So
picnics and
yeah,
everything.
picnics. So it's obviously important to our city. And if it's fixed now, it shouldn't be outrageous. If it's let deteriorate, then you either have to demo or make major repairs. So right now, I haven't actually walked under it and looked, but it appears to still be in decent enough shape where a roof should alleviate most of the problems.
Does the city have anything to do with that, with those pavilions and stuff like that, or what, how does that?
So the city is responsible for the city park.
Right.
And they're trying to put together another park board like they used to have years ago.
Right.
And they disbanded. Now they're trying to put it back together again, which I agree with doing. So the city can do that. But we as an EDC can also assist with that. We can also do that because one of the things that we're allowed to spend money on is the park is an area that brings in visitors, tourists, brings in people who spend money here. So it increases our sales taxes. So helping maintain that park. Now, we do not, in my opinion, want to get into a position where we are going to somehow imply to the public or the city that we're going to take it all over. We are not going to take over maintaining that park.
No
It
way.
is a city park. It is very expensive. We don't get enough money from sales tax dollars to do that. But similar to us helping with the $1,800 for that door, we can pick certain projects that we know help with the tourism here. So it fits under EDC guidelines about what we can do.
I think we've got estimates a while back.
Yeah, I'm looking at the one that David gave, a few years ago? Or something like that. See that, we went and looked at it and he was, they were talking about the other pavilions, which was just a couple screws missing. Those, not a biggie, those were all in great shape. The total of 5 roofs, now this is the estimate he gave, was $9,725 at that time. That was a few years ago. And, you know,
Yeah, and I don't know that we want to repair, like on the ones that just need a
he
few
said the
screws,
worst, that one is in really bad shape.
that, so it would just be that one that I think, you know, we could consider doing.
And it's the main one as soon as you pull in the gate. That's your first visible.
Yeah.
That and the basketball court.
Right, the
What kind of
other
shape is
ones
this
were
place?
like in really good shape when we looked at it. I mean, he's like, I'll just go put a screw in it. That's all it needs, you know?
Well,
But,
if y'all are interested in doing this, we don't have to pass anything now, but I can put that on the same list when I cut this out and get estimates. So I can bring it back to you next month and show you the estimates if we want to go ahead and help and pay for the repair on that pavilion.
Are we the best spot to get that done, or should that be proposed to the city? And if it was proposed to the city, what does that avenue even look like?
Oh, we're the best spot.
We're the best spot? It'll be rotten by the time we get to.
Well,
So,
we are very efficient at tackling things, making a list, deciding what we need to do, listening to the public, and moving forward. And, you know, I think we're able to kind of do that without necessarily taking the time that it may take for the other. And I think the city has a lot of stuff on their plate, you know, like with this water line and everything else, they need to get the budget done.
Well, if we take the city park, if you look at like the doors that you just mentioned are finished, like just little projects, chip away at it, not any big spins at once, but just it'll start. If we constantly do a little bit of improvement on it, it'll get back to a very desirable place, right?
Absolutely.
But the main thing is preserve what we do have and not let it deteriorate where it becomes a major expense before we start fixing the things that just are what they are and they're never going to cost more down the road if they're left as is.
Okay. So we're going to do no action on number 17 that needs a vote, but I will, when I'm getting people to look at the construction stuff, I'll have them look at the first pavilion as well and get those as a separate estimate for getting that repaired.
Perfect.
That's great.
All right. So we'll go on to number 18, future agenda items. Okay, so one of the things that they're doing in Emory is parking lot grants. Would y'all like me to put that as a future agenda item if I get the contract from the Emory EDC for us to look at, that we might consider offering parking lot grants as well for our business? Sound like something we might want to look at? All right, well, I can get them for us and then we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, then we just talk about the needs of the businesses and what the conditions are. And
So now we're at number 19. Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
How do we do that?
Sounds like are you making that
I
motion,
make a
Larry?
motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
You got it, second.
Yeah.
We're off for that one.
All in favor? We are adjourned at 6:50. All
You know,
right.
we cleaned up, we went in and we cleaned up the road. And then we went down and we cleaned up the whole back road, all the way down to the water.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we cleaned up all the woods like that, about 5 of us. And this guy and myself used to mow